Hi guys, I'm Chef Shreeya from Sushi and More Mumbai, India. My forte is Japanese food and today I'm going to show you how to make tempura soba. Tempura soba is a classic dish from Japan which comprises of soba noodles, which is buckwheat noodles, which is soaked in a soupy broth, and there is tempura, crispy tempura on top. In order to make tempura soba, we will be requiring the following ingredients. Firstly, soba. Soba is buckwheat noodles. You get it easily in the market. If you don't get soba, you can use udon or maybe somen. Somen is a very thin variety of noodle. Udon is much thicker variety. So I'm using about half a packet of soba. Next, for the broth, I'll be using dashi. Dashi is Japanese stock. You can use chicken or fish stock as well. Just make sure that it's a clear stock. That's about 5 parts or 5 cups of dashi. Next, I'll be using mirin and soy sauce for the broth. So if it's 5 parts of dashi, I would be using 1 part of mirin and 1 part of dark soy sauce. Next, for the tempura, I'm going to use tempura flour and prawns, following up with some ingredients that I'm going to use for the garnish. So this is Shitaki mushrooms. I have whole Shitaki mushrooms and sliced Shitaki mushrooms. For flavorings, I'm using some ginger, which is grated, some lemon rind, again which is grated, some Togarashi powder, it's a Japanese style chili powder with 7 flavors, and some sesame seeds. So in order to make it a little more healthy, I'm going to add some vegetables, like there's blanched spinach here, there's blanched asparagus, some carrot juliennes to give it more color, and some spring onion juliennes. So in order to make the tempura soba, first we need to boil the noodle. This is soba noodle. Soba noodle is buckwheat noodle, right? It takes about 3 to 4 minutes to boil these noodles. I've put about 7 to 8 cups of water, which has already come to a boil. Now before starting off with the boiling process, you need to keep a bowl of cold water ready. Slightly lower the soba first. And then gently push it in. You can use a pair of tongs or a pair of chopsticks to just separate the noodles so that they don't stick to each other. In the meanwhile, I can prepare the batter for the tempura. This tempura flour, which you easily get at stores. Okay. All you need to do is add it to cold water. You can follow the recipe instructions that's given at the back of the packet. I'm going to put some for dusting the prawns. Make sure that it's not a very thick batter, but it should be lumpy. Check on my noodles here. In order to understand whether the soba is cooked or not, just pick up a strand, put it in the cold water and stir it open. If it's white in the center, then it's still raw. You need to put it back. This is cooked as of now. I'm going to switch it off and immediately put it in cold water. This prevents further cooking of the noodle. So next step is making the tempura. For this, I'm going to first keep the noodle aside for cooling. I've already put the pan of oil for heating. Tempura batter is fine, and I've also have some spare tempura flour for coating my prawns. For vegetarians, you can use asparagus tempura or baby corn tempura. Mushroom tempura goes very well with this recipe. And for people who are allergic to shellfish, you can use white fish instead. Even soft shell crab is a very good option for this recipe. The prawns have been coated. I'm going to lower them in the batter. The coating is necessary, otherwise the batter will not hold on to the prawns. There's the second one. The tempura is ready. Drain it out on a kitchen towel. My soba is ready. Now my tempura is also ready. Now the next step is to make the broth or the base of this whole dish. So for that I'm going to take a pan first. So 5 parts of dashi, you can use a cup instead. I'm going 2.5 times. As I've mentioned, you can use chicken stock or fish stock as well. 1 part of mirin. Mirin is a sweet cooking sake or a sweet cooking wine. And 1 part of the Japanese dark soy sauce. All you need to do is get all these ingredients to a boil. I'm also going to add the Shitaki mushroom here so that it gets a nice flavor, and a little bit of the lemon rind. Let's come to a simmer. Lower the temperature, and how much ever you're using for, I have 2 bowls here, so I'll be dividing this into 2. Place it back inside just to heat it up. You can switch off the gas. You can use the same sauce and chill it down and then serve it again with these noodles. That's a different way of having soba or udon. That's called zaru soba or zaru udon. And that is served with sesame seeds, some wasabi and some chopped leeks. It's a dish that Japanese enjoy during summer months. So we'll just garnish this thing up. This blanched spinach or horenso, what they call in Japanese. I'm using a few sprigs of asparagus. Keep it on one side. There you go. Some sliced Shitaki mushrooms. You can use a whole one as well. That's some carrots, very finely julienned. Some spring onion greens that go on top. You can use chives as well. There's some grated ginger. some more lemon rind, small sprinkling, roasted white sesame seeds. You can imagine the number of textures and flavors that you're going to taste in your mouth. A little bit of Togarashi. And lastly, you ladle in the broth. From the sides without disturbing the tempura. The broth should be as much, just about enough to cover all the noodles and ingredients. And there it is. Your tempura soba is ready. So this was the super healthy, super tasty and super nutritious tempura soba. If you like this recipe, do subscribe to India Food Network. For any queries, comments, or if you have any other suggestions, or if you want me to make any other recipe in Japanese food, do write in. I'll be most happy to assist. Domo arigatou gozaimasu.